Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. The First Amendment.
Good evening. Gentlemen, my name is Ted Frosch. I reside at 9139 North Ridgeway in Skokie. Came to my attention that on May the 1st there's going to be a Nazi parade held in front of the village hall.
The Illinois suburban town of Skokie, Illinois, undersaw the ability to the First Amendment up close, witnessing what the ability to uphold free speech is like when a band of neo-Nazis planned to hold a demonstration near the village hall in 1977. The American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, organization is supposed to protect people and freedom to their rights and fight for the right to uphold them. When the ACLU chose to defend Frank Collin and his neo-Nazis followers, they started a controversy between Skokie and the neo-Nazi citizens, questioning if when they stood behind and fought for Frank Collin's rights, if they were doing the right thing. Despite the offensiveness of a neo-Nazi group marching in the high-populated Chicago suburb of Skokie, Illinois, the American Civil Liberties Union Jewish lawyer chose to defend the right to express the neo-Nazis group's views regardless of the offensiveness stand because of their strong belief on the rights to the First Amendment, as well as helping the neo-Nazi group. They reinforced the ability to uphold free speech today.
The man that I'm trying to get now is a fanatic. If you're not willing to kill, if you're not willing to shoot somebody for your ideals, you don't really believe.
Frank Collin, the leader of the National Socialist Party of America, sent letters out to many Chicago suburban towns asking for permission to hold a demonstration protesting white power. The NSPA mostly expected not to hear from many towns and were shocked when the town of Skokie, Illinois wrote back. The board of Skokie said that Frank Collin and his neo-Nazi followers basically could not march in Skokie unless they paid a $350,000 insurance for any damage done in Skokie. Collin soon afterward went to the American Civil Liberties Union and stated his case against Skokie, saying that it was an unconstitutional restriction of freedom of speech.
There was a long period of time when there was some doubt as to whether we were going to win the case. About halfway through the controversy, the Illinois Supreme Court affirmed the ACLU's position, and from that point forward, we were much more confident.
Many people across the country saw this as a very offensive action because of where Collin was attempting to hold his demonstration. Skokie itself in 1977 had 40,000 Jewish people, with 7,000 of them being Holocaust survivors. Frank Collin himself was half Jewish and his father was a Holocaust survivor. The ACLU chose to help defend Frank Collin's rights to hold a demonstration in Skokie, believing it to be a strong case against the First Amendment. Despite the media and many protests against the ACLU and the NSPA, the ACLU took a stand by helping defend Frank Collin's rights to the First Amendment.
They shouldn't be allowed to spread hate and murder. Now, when they want to wear a uniform, to me, they are just irresponsible clowns. Now, a clown makes you happy. They are clowns which look to destroy you, kill you. For what? What kind of a right do they have to preach and spread hate between human beings?
Kill Nazis now! Kill Nazis now! Kill Nazis now! Kill Nazis now! Kill Nazis!
Part of our position was that the First Amendment protects all speech in the United States, even speech with which we disagree. Anything other than that was superfluous to that core principle.
In 1920, when the ACLU was first founded, they said that no matter who you are, you should be able to speak freely without question, and upheld what they said during the Nazi Skokie case in 1977. When the ACLU took the case, they were hit with many suits against Collin and his right to hold a demonstration. Jewish defense lawyer David Goldberger represented the ACLU and Collin. While Illinois courts were defending the suit, Skokie enacted an injunction along with 3 ordinances which practically made the demonstration impossible.
The ordinances were passed in response to some very serious lobbying and agitating from people who lived in Skokie, but that didn't make them any more constitutional.
Due to all the court cases and arguments made over paper through time, Frank Collin's demonstration kept getting postponed and pushed back. The ACLU continued to fight for Collin's rights even though the ACLU was beginning to attract hate, same as Collin. Many people still thought that what the ACLU was doing was undeniably offensive and cruel. However, the ACLU still strongly believed in the right that everybody has access to, therefore continued to stand behind Frank Collin's rights, taking a stand showing the effectiveness and importance of the First Amendment.
Eventually, I used to commute to and from work on the L. I stopped doing that because people riding the L would recognize me and either glare at me or decide they had to tell me how wrong I was. And I was not alone in this. David Goldberger also suffered similar slights and threats. And the entire staff in our office spent an awful lot of time defending what we were doing. I know that our board of directors in social gatherings and other circumstances were frequently assaulted about the position we had taken.
Many Jewish employees working for the ACLU resigned during their company's run to help Collin because they did not believe in what the ACLU was trying to do in helping the NSPA. The ACLU lost around 30,000 members and 15% of the company, along with $500,000 in funding trying to help Collin and the neo-Nazis.
ACLU exists precisely for this kind of circumstance. It is the reason the organization was created. It is the reason we took this case. It is the reason we stayed with this case. It never occurred to us to back down or walk away. And once we were into it, frankly, we didn't have any choice anymore. We couldn't stop even if we wanted to, and we never did.
Just days before the scheduled demonstration, Collin reached out saying that he would abandon Skokie if he would be allowed to march in Market Park, a different Illinois location. Despite the fact that Collin never ended up holding a demonstration in the Chicago suburban town of Skokie, Illinois, he still left quite an impact on Skokie residents, the ACLU, and the whole country. The American Civil Liberties Union of Illinois fought and defended Collin's right to hold a demonstration in Skokie, Illinois, despite the offensiveness of that action. No matter how challenging the case got, the ACLU continued to fight for the First Amendment right to let Collin and the NSPA speak their minds freely. The ACLU took a stand in showing how important the First Amendment is to the United States Constitution and proving the importance to the whole country through the Nazi Skokie case.